Growing up in country Victoria, I would love going to musicals. They also would take me to the Myer Music Bowl, where the bowl is near, where the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra would do the most amazing things, and I'd just close my eyes and just take it all in. When I came to Melbourne, ended up staying, was only supposed to be for 2 weeks with Ronnie Burns' family. I started getting into music and surfing. I was surfing at the time. And I was down at Port Leo listening to 3OK, I think it was, and they played this song. Oh, what's that? And it was the first time I ever heard the Beatles. And that's when I thought, oh, I've got to be part of this. And I actually got a job at Go Set.
7 weeks after it hit the streets, Go Set moved into bigger offices here at St Kilda.
Go Set was the music paper. Every week it would give information for all young music lovers. It became the Bible.
So why don't you go out and buy your Go Set for 15 cents? And also, there's a 3XY news page, my column, and everything else in the paper. So why don't you go out Tuesday, 15 cents, Go Set colour.
And the guy I idolised was Stan Rofe, and he actually wrote a column in Go Set as well. You know? And in fact, it was Stan who gave me the name Molly. Thank God they didn't call me Mildred. Imagine Mildred Meldrum. That would be disastrous. At the other stage, I also started with Commotion as a mimer and a dancer. And as we all know, I'm a shocking dancer. And I wasn't that good at miming either, yeah. But it all worked together, yeah. And then obviously getting into record production and producing. In being a record producer, you can nurture and help people to grow, you know. And I love it.
Hush, hush, thought I heard her calling my name now. Hush, hush, she broke my heart, but I love it just the same now. Hush.
Talking about record production is one of my great, great loves, yeah. My interpretation of the real thing was, in our world, there were so many people that thought they were the real thing, including Hitler, Stalin.
I am the real thing.
So I actually designed the song around that. The bomb at the end is the atomic bomb going off. Colleen Hewitt, a dear, dear friend of mine. I rang Colleen and I said, day by day, you've got to listen to this song because I really think this is going to be the next single. You know? Well, it actually became a hit, a big hit. I'm much happier than being locked in studios and control rooms and hopefully doing another young singer, male, female or group into a hit and helping them, you know. And that gives me a great satisfaction. And then I started working at Abbey Road and then ended up working at the Beatles. And it was incredible. I was given a job through Terry Doran, and Terry came over then and said, Ian, I want you to meet John Lennon. And I went to shake his hand and I was so nervous that I literally fainted. Went down my knees and brought the chair over and the drink went straight into John's face, yeah. Anyway, we became great friends and I worked for Apple and the whole thing. And then he gave me the world scoop about, you know, the marriage is over and the Beatles were breaking up, yeah. But yeah, I do all those silly things, yeah. I was dying to meet Olivia Newton-John because this is where you might find it hard to believe. I actually fell in love with her. Not that she actually knew it. When she knocked me back, I thought, well, be happy that you got to know her. Be happy and gay. And so maybe I turned gay. Countdown or the Countdown was a show on a Sunday night at a prime time slot of 6 to 7 across the country, and that was massive.
I don't know why sometimes I get frightened.
It was only supposed to go for 8 weeks, the start of colour television, and we just came at the right time. Thank God we had the likes of Skyhawks, Sherbet, Peter Allen, John Paul Young, and then AC/DC, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And I suddenly realised that we had created, I was going to say a monster, but Well, they created a monster from me. But, yeah, it was just something else. When Countdown decided to do a film clip of AC/DC on the back of a truck coming down Swan Street, I thought, I'm going to put this to AC/DC. I thought, I don't know. They was probably saying, no, yeah, not think I'll do something like that. And the one that was a driver of AC/DC was Malcolm Young. And went, yes, we'll do it. And they did it, and it's one of the most famous film clips in the world. And to lose Malcolm was heartbreaking. Yeah? Chrissy Amphlett decided that if Angus could wear a school uniform, then she could wear a school dress. Chrissy Amphlett with the Divinals was an extraordinary, extraordinary woman, singer, songwriter, and she was outrageous.
It's a fine line between pleasure and pain. You've done it once, you could do it again.
And to lose Chrissy was very, very painful. And she was one of the leaders in Australia and the world as a female lead that could really, really carve something.
I am woman, watch me grow, see me standing toe to toe.
You know, one of the first that became an Australian force was, without any doubt, Helen Reddy, yeah. She was so full of class. And when she released and sang I Am Woman, it had not only such a resounding effect here in Australia, but around the world.
I should be so lucky, lucky, lucky.
As Kai sums it up with one song, and I think this applies to me, I should be so lucky, and I've been very lucky.
I should be so